Hello and welcome to this special presentation by ProTrade United. And it's great to have you on this session today. So let me just bring things back. We've got a great topic today called 7 Ways to Retain Your Best Tradespeople and Avoid Them Being Poached. My name's John Mailer and I'll be with you for the next 45 or 50 minutes and looking forward to sharing some great content with you around this very, I guess, pertinent and important topic right now, and also getting some insights from yourself as well, and also giving you some opportunities if you'd like some ongoing support, not just with this topic, but with your business in general. So, as I said, my name is John. If this is your first time with us, welcome. It's great to have you on the session. And if it's not your first time you've been with us, you know what you're in for as well. So just relax, next 45, 50 minutes, be open. We're going to present some ideas and some concepts which may be new, maybe something that is not new, but just giving you a reminder as well about what's happening in that space. So be present. We're going to give you opportunity to participate and share, and just not making it a one-way conversation, but making it to the ability to connect both ways. And also, I know there was a question that's already been put into the box. Can we record it? And the answer is yes, it's being recorded, and you will receive a recording just in case you want to listen to it again. Share it with a business partner or some of your work colleagues, and utilize the content moving forward as well. So how do we connect and collaborate? If this is your first time, you'll see a little control panel usually popping up on the right-hand side of your screen. You'll have the opportunity, and I'll show you how to do this. If you can see that little raise your hand, if you can raise your hand, that tells me that you can see me, you can hear me, it's loud and clear. So we're all great in that space. Also, I'd love you to type in where you're from and what type of business that you have. So it could be, yes, I'm from Wellington, New Zealand, and I have an electrical business. You might say I'm from Tennant Creek, Northern Territory, and I'm in refrigeration, which would be pretty cool for up there as well. Or you might be able to say, listen, I'm in wet, soggy Brisbane, and I have a landscaping business. So if you could just type away, that'd be terrific. If you can hear me, say that nice and clearly, I'll bring everything up. Thanks, says Peter. So if you can type into the box, that'd be terrific. So I can see participants. We've got Christina. Hey, Christina. G'day, Michael. Great to have you on the session. Hey, Robert. Hey, Peter. Hey, Christina again. Hey, Nick. Thanks for saying hello. Please type into the box if all is clear in that space. Let me just see who else we have. Brisbane, says Nick, auto, electrical and mechanical business. Christina's in Brizzy as well, got a refrigeration. Bunbury, says Peter, good on you, mate, from a telecommunications contractor. Mark from Royal Eagle Security, nice and clear. Thanks, Mark. Good to have you on the call. And from Auckland, a commercial landscaping business, we've got Michelle, Jamon from Adelaide, who is there, beautiful. Peter's got Joel's got a Sydney-based pool business. Peter's a solar contractor. Hey, it's Mick from Brizzy, plumber, just signed up for a program. Good on you, Michael. That's great to have you on board. Tony's got a commercial fleet cleaning. Peter's coming from Karratha. Jamon's in security and electronics. And Dean is in security Australia-wide. So, mate, that is great to have you on this session. And listen, I'm calling in or dialing in from the Sunshine Coast. It was wet and soggy last week, a little bit dry today, but we've got a bit more rain on the way, which is a very pertinent topic for Queensland at this point in time. So who's ProTrade United? So some of you know who we are. We've been working in the trade and construction space now for the last 6 years, and we support business owners across Australia and New Zealand. Specifically in the trade and construction space. And our goal is to support them to do one of three things. That's to streamline and stabilize your business, to provide you with consistency of income, profit, and cash. When you've got that, you've got choices. Yeah, that tends to give you the opportunity to go in different directions, but we want to get you there first. Once you're there, one of the things you may want to do is scale your business. And from that perspective, that means growing, but doing it profitably as well. Some of you may have grown your business profitably or unprofitably, but we're there to support and give you the right structures. Or you may be at the stage where you want to step out of your business You want to look at alternatives to being involved in the day-to-day, maybe as a shareholder, maybe selling part of it off, or maybe just having the right people around you so that you can enjoy the time and the space that you've been wanting to create your business for. We have a customized step-by-step approach. We call it the ProTrade United Business Mountain. And when you enroll and be part of our community, we give you a handbook and a guidebook and a structured approach to really give you the next best step in your business. And this has been based on over 20 years of business work as in my sort of space as a business coach and advisor. And it's a pretty bulletproof system that if you follow it, you can grow and evolve your business. And our goal for many of you is to get to that stage we call space. And space is where you not only have the profit, but you also have the time. Yeah, and you have a really, really valuable business. There's some options above that, but that's the primary goal of a lot of our clients. And who are some of our clients? Just like you, everyday, hardworking Aussies doing great things with their craft, but really just wanting to build a business and become professionals of their trade. So I'll share a little bit more about some of those clients as we go through this session as well. So we're going to talk about retaining people, and I'll talk about the reality of what everyone's facing shortly. But what I'd love to hear from you is, and just to ensure that I can deliver the best outcome for you tonight, yeah, if you could type into the chat box, what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced or may be facing right now about, hey, hiring maybe and retaining your best people? Because there's no doubt there's an abundance of work at this point in time that's going to shift later in the year and next year when things level off a little bit. But there's a supply and demand issue from the point of view of getting skilled labor as well. So if you can just type away into the chat box, I'll put my goggles back on and love to hear from you to hear what you're dealing with in the space. So Michelle's already said inflated wages. And it's interesting that word inflated, isn't it? Because we are experiencing inflation. The US has experienced their highest inflation rate in the last 41 years. So for some of you, that's the highest it's been ever for you in your life. Lack of available staff, says Robert. Thanks, mate. That is true. We've got a supply and demand issue, and particularly those in regional areas. So I was speaking to one of our clients in Dubbo today, and he said it's just near on impossible to get quality people, particularly in those regional areas as well. So Peter's competing with the mining companies for skilled labour, and particularly when they can pay a little bit more, I can understand. But we're going to talk today about how paying more is not always the incentive that people are looking for, and there are alternatives as well. So Rory again says finding quality people, but here's what I want to ask you: what challenges do you face in retaining them, holding on to them? Yeah, are people just jumping ship for money? That could be one thing to consider, but maybe not. Yeah, Renell's got training up employees only to have them poached or taken by competitors as well. So listen, please keep typing away. And what I really get from all of that, team, is that we're all related. We all get that that's the challenge. That's what we're dealing with right now. So let's have a look at some of the realities of what's actually happening. So we have a maturing workforce. Like I turned 55 this year, so 50 plus a bit of GST. And my age and older, yeah, many of the skilled labor has retired or is thinking about retirement, or maybe other options around what they want to do with the last 10 years of their life. There's fewer people joining the trades. But when I left school, I went to ag college, hands-on, but it wasn't a trade. But really the option was you went into a limited number of university scopes, or you got a trade, or you did hospitality, or you did something around that. So there was a lot more people joining the industry. Today, you think about the future of your industry, and particularly right now, the unlimited options that people have in which direction they may want to go. So sometimes becoming a trade is not necessarily the most attractive. However, if my 13-year-old daughter said one day, John, I want to become a plumber or an electrician, or I want to join the trades, I'd say go for it, sweetheart, because there's great opportunity there. There's less overseas workers due to COVID. We all realize that. There's a shrinking talent pool. The best people are already employed. So if you're looking for great people, you're not going to find them on Seek. Okay, Seek is generally where desperate people go for opportunities. The best people are employed, and you may have some of those. So how do you keep them? And now hiring and challenging is more you know, hiring and keeping is more challenging than ever. In fact, I think keeping is probably more challenging than hiring. So we get to choose from now on. You can create a business by default, which means you wake up every day, react to external circumstances, and then just go about your business and blame what's happening externally, or you get to choose. You can say, well, right from this point on time, I'm going to design my business the way that I want my business to run. And again, speaking with a client who's just started with this earlier on today, was talking about he's frantic, he's won all this work, he's working 18-hour days, not seeing his family. And I get that that's the external reality at this point in time, yet he also gets to choose. There is always a choice, yeah? And we at ProTrade is about helping you open up and expand your awareness around what choices are available. So here's a question for you, something for you to start thinking about. This is, why should I stay? Why, if a key employee came to you or wanted to approach your business and they said, listen, I've got some other offers, why should I join your business? Or one of your key employees says, listen, I've had some offers externally, why should I stay? What do you offer? What do you offer, and how would you respond to that when asked? Okay, it's not an easy one. Now, you might be able to say, yes, we pay more, we've got a better environment, we've got a more sustainable business, but what are the tangible things? Now, it's not an easy question to answer. You may have some things that are there, but do you actually promote and advertise those things? If you've got some thoughts, feel free to keep tapping away into the chat box as we go, because we can start sharing as well. Okay, so that's really what I want you to start considering, is how are you different? Not how are you better, but how are you different as well? So here's some questions for you to consider. When business owners are asked, and this is a study of over 600 business owners in the last 2 years, what did they think that employees were really looking for to stay in their current position? And this is what the employers said. They said they want good wages, they want job security, they want promotional and other opportunities. We want good working conditions and interesting work. So that's fair enough. Okay, so that's what the employers thought employees were looking for. What do you think the employees said when they were asked the same question? So the employees from those 600 firms are asked this question: what do you think is important for you to stay where you are? And this is what they came back for, was full appreciation of work being done, feeling in on things, which is around communication, understanding the game plan, where were you going, what are you looking to do, how am I involved? Flexibility and support with personal life, balance is important. Promotion and growth opportunity, number 5, good wages. So money is important, yet it is never the most important. Yeah. Now, for some of you who say, yes, and so-and-so's offering X amount more per hour down the road, I can't compete with that. But here's the thing, sometimes people leave not because of the salaries, but because of the work environment and what is or what is not being provided. And that's what we're going to explore tonight. So this is some of the data that we're utilizing to create some tools to help you guys and our clients in particular retain more of their best people. So what we're seeing is 63% of companies say retaining is actually harder than hiring them. 81%, which is 4 out of 5 employees, would consider leaving their jobs for the right offer, even though they may not be looking right now. 74%, which is 3 out of 4, would accept a pay cut. How about that? They'd accept a pay cut for a chance to work at their ideal job. Yeah, and 23% of those seeking a job wouldn't need a pay increase. So there again is some other information to tell you that money's important, but it's not the most important. Now, I think it's important that you pay your team enough. I also believe you pay them above award. Don't just pay the bare ass minimum. You want to pay them above award because there's benefits of that as well. But you don't want to be seen as a cheapskate employer. You want to be known as, but you don't necessarily want to be throwing your cash around, because it's important about paying people what they're worth, what they're delivering on, and giving them enough, obviously, to make sure that they're not thinking about money when they're coming to work with you as well. So we're going to cover off on 3 very quick mistakes that we see that people are making when they're hiring. Okay, number one, they have a wrong approach. And I want you to think about this. The wrong approach in your business, you can take two approaches. You can take the amateur approach or you can take the professional approach. What doesn't work is the amateur approach. Okay, so I used to play country football in Victoria, Western Victoria. I used to play for a team called the Kalki in the Horsham District League. Now that's just going back 25 years ago. Yet I wasn't that great a player. You know, I'd probably play half the games in the seniors and half in the resis, or the reserves as they called it. Now, in the reserves, we were usually short 2 or 3 players every match, as were a lot of country football teams. So what would happen is the committee would walk around the car park or walk around the oval because all the cars were parked around the oval with a bunch of jumpers, and they would come up and knock on a window and they'd say, hey, Peter, listen, I know you didn't plan to play today, but would you mind popping on a jersey, fill in a spot, just sit in the back pocket, wave your hands around, just so we can put some numbers on the field. Now, you could probably predict the success of the team, yeah? Yet that happens in business. We've got so much work on, we've got to play. Have you got a pulse? Have you got a tool belt? Can you be on site tomorrow at 7 o'clock? Okay. Now, it might fill a spot, but what is the collateral damage to that? What is that going to cost you? In fact, sometimes I'm sure when you go back to the football example, we'd be better off playing without some of those fill-ins with less people on the team, but everybody was aligned and focused on what we needed to do. Or we can take the professional approach, and this is what I want you to think about. How far forward are you thinking about your business? If you're just thinking about how to get through the month, maybe the next couple of months, okay, you're not thinking about who you want on your team and what are you going to do to attract them in the next 6 to 12 months to 2 years. So that our clients that we're working with at the moment, we're not having them just exist today. We're starting to say, okay, it might be challenging, but let's start playing the game about who you want to hire next, because it could take months to find the right hire. Who do you want to be hiring in the next 2 to 3 years? Start playing the long game. Put your eyes up. When it comes back to football, the example, head down, eyes up. Yes, you've got to have your head down sometimes to get through the job today, but when are you going to bring your eyes up to look at what's coming at you? Okay, the second mistake we see people are making is they just hire for skills. Oh, he's good, he's been in the industry 20 years. Mate, he's got plenty of experience. Yes, but is it the experience that's right for your team? So what happens is they just look at the resume, they look at where they've worked, but they don't necessarily look at what's underneath the iceberg. Yeah, and that's what I want to say is, when you think about the people, if you've hired before, that keep you up at night, that challenge your sanity, is it because they don't have the skills or is it their attitude? So we have a specific process that we go through and share with clients on how to ensure that you hire primarily for attitude, then skills. Once they've got the base level of skills, okay, the rest is attitude, because if you've got someone who's loving, you know, the energy, they want to learn, they want to grow and evolve, they're a good person for your team. So that's a tool that we specifically use and share with clients. And so I want you to think about, are you hiring just for skills? Or do you have a process in place that allows you to weed out the people who aren't a great match for your environment? And again, it's all about short term. The biggest mistake we say is, listen, I've just got to get through the job. Who can I get to help me out? You know, one of the clients I was speaking to this afternoon has just won 3 big tenders. And he says, you know, when I bidded for these tenders, you know, 3 months ago, I had a full team. Now I've got 2/3 of the size of the team. How am I going to get through this? And yes, there are strategies for that. We don't have time to talk about now. But I want you to think about, yeah, we've got to keep thinking long term, and we have to improvise and adapt and overcome. So here's a little matrix that we are going to share with you here that will help you determine who you have on your team and who you want on your team moving forward. Yep. So it's a very simple and powerful tool, yet not easy to sometimes apply. So let's have a look at it. We've got the 2 crosses, yeah? We've got the attitude and the values of your organization, and then we have the skills and the results that someone can produce. So we're going to just touch on this because on a surface level, because we can dive a bit deeper with you and your team at another stage. But we call an A grader. An A grader is someone who has the skills, can produce the results, and has the attitudes and values to match your team. I trust that's making sense, yeah? They've got the attitudes and values to match your team. So these are the type of people, when you're not on site, When you're not in the business, you know that things are being taken care of and they're a great custodian for your culture. We have a B player. Now, a B player is like the enthusiastic apprentice. They don't have the skills yet, but they've jumped on board, they're positive, they're can-do, they're energetic, they get on with everybody, yeah, but they've got the opportunity to be groomed into the skill set that you're looking for. Now, a C player is someone who can produce the results, has the skills, but their attitude sucks. Yeah, let's not, let's play this with a straight bat. Their attitude sucks. We call them C players because they're cancerous. They sort of, on the surface, they say the right thing, but you just know deep down inside, they're infiltrating your business. When you're not around, they whinge, they moan, they complain, they badmouth people. Okay, they infect the rest of the organization. In fact, their energy stinks. And you know exactly who I'm talking about. None of you will beat one of those players, but you've either had them on the team or you've got them on your team right now. And then we have the Ds, and the Ds are the duds. The duds shouldn't be there right now. It's a hiring mistake, yeah? So what we have to look at doing is we got to groom our Bs up to A. So we got to get them into some sort of training and development plan, a career path, let them know what opportunities you have moving forward. We've got to get rid of the duds because they're costing your business money right now. So remember, an employee is there to either add value and help you generate profits, or it's devaluing the company and costing you money. Yet there's no line item on your profit and loss every month that says, poor quality employees has cost me $7,500 last month. But and maybe you're avoiding the courageous conversation of what needs to be had. And the C's, we've got to get rid of them. There's a whole strategy that we have with dealing with people like your C players, yeah? But you either have to get rid of them because they're costing your business money. Now, some of you may be saying this, yeah, but John, if I let them go, okay, I'm not going to be able to generate as much work. But what is it costing you by keeping them? Because I tell you what, your A graders will be looking at your leadership when they know C players are on the team. And they'll be saying, how come this guy who runs the company is allowing this jackass to stay on the team? You know what? I don't like working with him. He infects the environment. I think I might start sniffing around to look for another opportunity. So some of you are saying that people are leaving for more money, but I tell you what, some of them are leaving because you don't have a great environment. You're allowing Ds and Cs to hang around, which is reflective of your leadership. And you now need to own that situation and look at ways to remove the Cs and the Ds as quickly as possible. You might say, well, that's impossible right now, but there's always a choice, yeah? You get to choose. All right, let's keep grooming our players because you've got better and best. All right, so I'm going to take a little pause here. I'd love to hear from you what you found valuable so far. Yep. What I'd love to hear from you, what's come up for you? What are you possibly confronted by? What's been valuable so far? What's a take home? What are you doing in your business right now that may be aligned with what I'm talking about? And as I said, dealing with people, I bet none of you thought when you started your business that the aspect around people management was going to be as challenging as you have experienced or maybe will experience. I know I definitely did when I first started my business 25 years ago, but I always remember some of the valuable lessons that I've had along the way and how valuable and the compound result of all those mistakes are now coming through today. So love to hear. Can you type into the chat box, guys? What are you hearing? What are you experiencing? What's coming up for you? And maybe what's some action you're going to take so far? Yeah, so Joel's got here, clearing off a C player and why it affects things. Totally. They're like a weed in your garden. They put out the runners, and all of a sudden they'll pop up all over your garden just like that. And you just didn't know that was even existing underneath all of that. Yeah. Mark Scott, I've recently had a C player lead the business and greatly improve the environment, even with the increased workload. So here's what I know about a C player. Here's the example. I know it's pretty raw, but it's like a bad smell in a room. When you walk into a room and you go, oh, something really smells. Don't know what it is. It's there. And then what happens is you sit around with other people and everyone else can smell it. They go, but they never say anything. no one wants to confront the elephant in the room to say, you know, something really stinks here and we've got to do something about it. Yeah. So that's what a C player is like. It's like a bad smell that no one wants to deal with. And it requires you as the owner or the senior manager to be courageous and deal with it. Because when it's gone, it's like, oh, the air's so much fresher here now. How good is this? And you know, you're better off having a team with less players that are high performers than someone continually being like an anchor and slowing you down. So great observation there. The matrix systems is enlightening and made sense with a player there, and we're looking to hire now, and definitely we'll be taking on board the attitude over skills. And Michael, because you've just joined us in the program, you know, we've definitely got some great structures that we can share with you as well. So keep tapping away as we keep progressing, guys. I'm just going to grab a little water. Beautiful. So we have an acronym, funnily enough, called RETAIN that we created at the end of last year when we noted that there was a significant challenge in keeping great people. So we rolled out this in detail with our clients, and I just want to run through with you briefly what this is so you can take away some examples and start utilizing them in your business immediately. So the R, the E, T, A, I, and N stands for recognition, engage, train and teach, accountability, inspire, and next steps. So let's have a look at what these are. So recognition. So giving you a demonstration of what recognition actually means. It's the acknowledgement of the existence and validity of something. So it's not just, hey mate, you did a great job today, thanks very much, which is the standard recognition. Or mate, we'll pay you a bonus at the end of the year if you do a good job. That's our recognition program. It's actually recognizing the reality of what is going on right now. So here's some couple of examples. Firstly, effort and results. There's no doubt about it. Letting people know what they're doing really well and being specific about it is such an encouragement. You know, a lot of the guys on your team, and including you, have never been praised or acknowledged throughout your life. And so for you, some of you I know are really challenged with that, actually taking on and acknowledging other people. But it doesn't take much. It could be once a week on a Friday afternoon. You know, you connect with all your team and you say, thanks very much for the effort that you put in this week. And be specific about it. It could be, hey, listen, we've had a really hot week, it's middle of summer, and you pulled together well, thank you so much. Or we've had some false starts this week, some challenges have been going on, and we need some, you know, we really needed that extra hand, thank you so much. So it's acknowledging effort and results, but here's the other thing, you also want to acknowledge and recognize when performance is not up to par. As a leader, one of the things that's really important is you set the parameters. What does winning look like and what doesn't? And when an individual is not performing, you need to recognize that, yep, and address it. Because as a leader, respect is super important, not just when things are going really well and blowing, you know, supposedly wind up people's backsides, but it's acknowledging it sincerely when things are going well and also acknowledging it sincerely when things aren't. Yep. The second part there is the current reality and knowledge of such. So a couple of examples. It's dealing with what's actually happening right now. So one of our refrigeration clients, earlier this year, they've got about 14 on the team. Half of them got COVID within a week. Okay, middle of summer, the schedule's out to this far. Half the team get COVID. Half of the half left were close contacts. All of a sudden, you've got 14 on the team and you're down to about 4. Wow, okay. Let's deal with the reality. So the employer said, what? He says, how am I going to deal with this? He says, well, you know what? You've got to acknowledge what's actually happening. So you call all the team and you acknowledge that, hey, we're going to find ourselves in a pretty tough situation on the other end of this. We're going to have so much work backed up. Okay, so rest up, tell the whole truth. They jumped on the phone to all of the clients, shared the situation, told the whole truth. Yeah. So recognizing exactly what's going on is the key, not just oh yeah, we'll just suck it up and get on with it. Did Brisbane this week, okay, unbelievable. I was in Brisbane in 2011 when we had the floods and I saw firsthand the devastation there. It's come around again. So in speaking with our clients in Brisbane, it's making sure that they're in communication and acknowledging with their team, hey guys, you know what? Yes, we're going to find ourselves in the next couple of weeks going through a challenging scenario, but you know what? We can get through together. Yep, let's work together as a team. So it's really not pushing the reality aside. It's actually, as a leader, recognizing and acknowledging the nuisance of something that's going on. So that's a key there. Some numbers and stats to support that is super important. Okay, let's look at the next one, engage. So what does engage actually mean? Not getting engaged to be married, but engage in the game. So what I do know is most people like to play a game. And particularly in the trading construction space with, 80% of the employees being blokes or people who've played team sports before, the analogy of football, or it's basketball or it's cricket or it's netball or it's something that you can align your team with is important. So creating a game is key. And I'm going to show you an example in this next slide. So Kristine and Dylan own Dawson Electric in Brisbane. Kristine's currently one of our team players as well. She's one of our coaches and an amazing owner and business owner and woman. So Kristine last year with her husband created a game around improving the number of Google reviews, 5-star Google reviews that they had. In fact, they were creating a game with one of the other participants and clients that we have and see who could raise the standard. So I think they were at about 60 or 70 5-star Google reviews, which is still pretty good for an organization. So what they did is they created a 90-day game and they said, this is the game we want to get to 110, over the next 90 days. And if we as a team get to that level, we're going to celebrate. So if we come back down to this here, we created a game, they had a scoreboard, and then they gave them the strategy to go out and improve their Google reviews. And they had a great little strategy that we supported them with that allowed them in the service and maintenance game to look at getting at least one 5-star Google review every 2 days. Yeah. So it got to 110 by the end of the 90 days. They all celebrated and had a team activity. That's just an example. By the way, they're well over 170 now. If you do want to look them up, I think it's 160 or 170. So they knew Google reviews were the currency of credibility. It was important to them winning future work, yeah? And how do they engage their whole team in it? So your employees, if they're engaged in something like that, it's not just about a job. It's going on, coming along, doing the work that they're employed to do and enjoying the journey as well. There could be other support structures. And again, we have a list of, numerous engagement strategies from health and wellbeing programs that some of our clients have introduced, to team activities that are really important, to one-on-one connections with your employees to find out what's going on for them in their personal life and supporting them around that. So it's looking at alternatives outside of the stock standard that's keeping people excited about wanting to work with an organization today. So the third one is teach and train. We've had R, we've had E, we've had teach and train. Now, what I know in running training and development programs for the last 20 years is that people love to learn. Many have just had poor learning experiences, yeah? People love to learn, you love to learn. That's why you're on this session. But many people have had poor learning experiences. So what we're going to recommend here is that you do provide opportunities for your team to grow and evolve and develop because they love to progress. And whether it's you providing them internally or you utilize an external company to assist, it is probably the #1 employee retention tool that you can engage with. So it could be tech skills, hard skills. And in your trade, you know what those are. You can train on the job, you can send people to a course. But there's also soft skills as well. And these are the ones that are often underestimated. For example, communication, building relationships, getting on with different personalities. Think about that. If all of your team knew, what their personality style was, and they knew the personality styles of the other people on their team, how does that bring people together? We run a leadership development program, ProTrade United, which is designed to support your leaders or your team leaders or office managers or supervisors to learn the soft skills around leadership, because we know how important that is to get the assistance in developing your team as well. So 87% of millennials, which are those people born from about 1990 onwards, consider training and development in a job super important. All right, so what are you doing to provide your team with the ability to grow and evolve and develop? So Tony Stevens Refrigeration is a family business in GYMPIE, and they are okay after the floods. And they've created a training and development program for all of their techs. So I've been up there, numerous times over the last few years to do some training development as a group, which is great to do with their team. And then we put a structure in place with them and a matrix of which employees require what skills moving forward over the next 12 months to 2 years, hard skills, soft skills, and how do they roll that out to continue to keep people engaged, learning and evolving. And a regional area, remember, employee retention is going to be a lot harder than in a city situation. So that's been extremely useful, and they've had a number of their employees as part of our leadership program as well. So they've really taken that on board, and particularly for Judy and Tony, who are in a transition phase out of their business, bringing up the skill set in the younger generation is super important. The A stands for accountability. Now, let's have a look at this, because accountability in this example is going to be about you first. So as a business owner, one of the things, and I'll put my hand up for here, is I have been guilty of, with one of a better word, is promising the world and delivering nothing previously. One of the things I, have always been is enthusiastic. And when I see ideas and opportunities, I'm more like to chomp at them and say, yep, we'll take that on and we'll do this and we'll do that. But haven't been able to follow through with that and deliver on what I said we were going to do. So what would happen over time, whenever I had an idea, I said we were going to do something, what do you think the team would say? Oh yeah, there's John with another crazy idea. Probably nothing will come of it, which was the truth. So what I recognized through all of that, and that was the feedback that my team gave me, and it was pretty hard to wear at the time, is I now say yes to very, very few things. But when I do say yes, I make sure we follow through. And particularly I follow through, because accountability within your team starts with you. Yeah. So you be the example, and then what we do is we roll that out amongst the team. So you may have a value in your organization about delivering results. That's one of our core values. So when someone says they're going to do something, okay, we support them in every way possible so they can follow through and get it done. And that may be holding them accountable and having that as part of our team culture. So commit to your actions, do what you say you're going to do, and roll that out with your team as well, because your team are looking for direction and leadership all the time. And trust is such an important ingredient in that leadership and environment game. Andrew is one of our clients in Melbourne, runs an amazing organization called 100% Plumbing. And again, he had a small challenge in his business a few years ago. He was doing a mixture of construction work as well as service and maintenance work, and the blend wasn't working. So he sat down, we looked at the numbers, we had a look at what was going to be the future of his business, and he needed to let go. And he realized that there were plenty of opportunities, and he was having a challenge in saying no to these opportunities. So he'd have all of these balls that he was juggling in the air all over the place, and his team knew that as well. So he sat down, we got clarity about the future, we got clarity about the client base. And what he did is he chose to let go of all of the construction work, just purely focus on service and maintenance. And through that, rather than running two different business models, just choosing one, which is one of the things that when we work with you over time, we really have a look at what's going to be the most profitable way for you to run your business. Because if you're saying yes to everything, you become nothing to no one. So Andrew, we challenged him, and he focused right down one type of work, the service and maintenance, and his goal was to become the best in his field in that space. And he's doing pretty well right now, but he held himself accountable to the actions and the coaching that he said he was going to do. The I stands for inspire. Now, here's the difference. It's not motivating. Okay. Motivation is an inside-out game. You cannot motivate anyone. Your goal is not to motivate your employees. By the way, your goal is not to make your employees happy either. Happiness and motivation is an inside-out job. It's like trying to motivate a desk. Come on, desk, you can do better. Wake up early, have a good breakfast, exercise, you'll feel great. and you'll be a much better desk. Okay, you know what I mean. But what you can do is create an environment where your employees can come along and do their very best work. And that's about breathing life into the employee. Yeah. So in this situation, we talk about two ingredients that are part of creating that great environment. One is a vision. Where's your organization going? You know, I was talking to Aidan, one of our plastering clients today, and he says, I'm having a bit of a challenge in coming up with what my vision in the business needs to look like. I said, Aidan, it doesn't need to be anything spectacular. I think you're putting a bit of pressure on yourself. I said, what you've done really well is continue to grow and evolve your business to be a better plastering business with a better team and better clients and more profit each and every year. And that might be just where you keep going. And you share that with your team that, hey, we're out to create an amazing organization with great clients, an awesome team that generates good, solid profits each and every year that we can reinvest back into the organization. I said, if you can continue to have a better business than you had last year, you know, that's better than having no vision, which a lot of businesses have. They just wake up and do the same stuff each and every day. And the other thing we want to do is create some values around what matters most in your organization. And these are like the non-negotiable guardrails that guide your business behavior and decisions. Yeah, that's your culture. Every business has a culture. It's whether it's created by default or by design. Remember, you get to choose. And you've got to weed out those C's and D's. You've got to get rid of them quickly. Not easy, it's simple. Okay, so you'll then create an environment where your best people want to show up and do their best work each and every day. And here's a great little quote here that basically says that and this is my favorite, oops, I'll come back to it. The true value of a leader is not measured by the work they do, but measured by the work that they inspire others to do. Isn't that interesting? And the last one is the N, and the N stands for next steps. We said earlier, people love to progress, but they like to know what the journey ahead is. So a job and a career, two totally different things. A job is where people show up, do their work, get through to the weekend, get their paycheck, go and do all the things they really want to do with their lives, and then come back to their job on Monday. A career is where someone shows up and knows that a career is part of their life, and it's where they want to show up and do some great work. But they need to know what the journey ahead looks like. And we've created these progression matrix that we work with clients on that allows you to create your own development program and show all of your employees when they start where they can go to. You can start here, but if you stay with us for 6 months and 12 months and 2 years and 3 years, this is where you could end up. This is the progression you can take. Yep, we'll help you grow and evolve. But here it is, your goal is not to just give your employees a job. Your goal is to help them build a beautiful career. I know that might sound really foreign for the trading construction space, but that's what you may need to consider if you want to hire and keep the best people. Think about that. Someone comes and says to you, I love to work with your organization, but I've had a couple of other offers. What do you offer? And you sit down with them and say, well, that depends on where you want to go. Let me show you where some people in our organization are going and where you may be able to go as well. Pull out your little progression and all of a sudden go, wow, that's really exciting. Versus, well, we can pay you $10 an hour more. When can you start? Yep. So sitting down with all of your employees one-on-one, having a conversation as a human to human versus a boss to employee is going to make all the difference there as well. So we've got some stats there. 33% of those changing jobs cite boredom as a reason why they want to progress, and career development opportunities were super important in their personal growth plan. So I'll have a little pause. I trust there's been some content there that you're thinking about, maybe reminding you, or if you're doing some of those things in your business right now, keep doing it. Okay, I'm going to grab a little drink. I'd love you to type away into the chat box and give me some insight about what you found valuable. Yeah, what are you going to take on board? What's going to be, what's exciting you, what's challenging you as well. So let you type away, chat away. I'll just mute. I realised I said mute myself as I muted myself. So let's have a look what's going on for you guys here. Peter loves the retain model, beautiful, and he's going to look forward to reviewing the PowerPoint again. Lovely. Yeah, inspire versus motivate, a different approach to, the same objective. On that, Michelle, someone said to me last week is, I just want to make my team players happy. I said, that's not your job. Okay, do not aim to make people happy, because you'll make decisions around people that is more fear-based. And what I mean by fear-based there is that if I don't do something for them, they may leave. Yeah. So it's not about making people happy. By the way, do you know some people who have all the external toys? They have the money, they have the house, they have the car, they live in a beautiful place, they've got this business, but they're miserable. Okay, so think about that. Okay, but you need what people want. Here's a really interesting point. It's a softer approach. People want to be acknowledged, they want to be recognized, they want to be supported, they want to feel part of a team, they want to be connected, they want to be loved, they want to grow and evolve, they want certainty, they want variety. The human needs, and if you can provide a snapshot of those, you're going to be doing so much better than many other employers. Okay, and Ronelle's got starting to see what employees may value, and that our perception of what we think they're looking for could be completely different as well. Hey, great. Thank you so much for contributing. I wish I had a little prize here for those people who contribute the most, but it's great to see what's going on there. So listen, a couple of things before we wrap up and share with you how, if you'd like some more support with this stuff, how you can take advantage of that. How do you onboard your team? How do you set them up to succeed? Okay. The traditional approach is you either throw people in the deep end and see where they sink or swim. That's how I learned the hard way. But what I learned is that that is not the best way to get your team set up for success. So when you onboard your team, you want to future pace them. You want to talk about where they're going to be in 12 months' time, 2 years' time. You're going to talk about their career, not just the job. You want to set them up to win. And what I mean by that is, do you know what winning looks like for them in their role? And do they know what winning looks like in their role? Give them the tools, give them the structure, give them the guidance and support, and then help them play every day to win. Just like people on a sporting team, they want to show up, they want to know what the game is, and they want to play and they want to win. And lastly on that, you want to communicate. You want to give people feedback early and often. You want to let people know what they're doing right, specifically. You want to let people know when they're off track, specifically. Yeah? Don't think that letting people know when they're off track is going to conflict with them wanting to stay with you. Most people like the railroad. They want to know what the tracks are, and they want to know when they're veering off the tracks. You be that leader that lets them know in no uncertain terms. So Brooke is one of our clients who, when she first started with us, pretty much was a one-man band. She was on the hedge trimmer, the mower, the whippersnipper, and she had a garden maintenance business in Brisbane. She now has over 40 employees, and she's grown her business over the last 5 to 6 years by putting in great structures to help her team win. When someone comes on board, they have a specific onboarding program that allows them to get up to speed, learn the rules of the game, and perform to their potential quickly. And she reminds them early and often when they're on track or off track. So they go from 1 or 2 people to, 45 on your team. Unless you onboard them and have a structure on how to keep them, it'll be a revolving door. And she has done an amazing job with that. She was our Business of the Year winner a couple of years ago. So of all the ideas, less is more. Okay, you may have a page. Take one idea, go and implement it. Get another idea, go and implement it. It's not about how many ideas that you have, it's what you do with those ideas that really, really matter. So your project, as we've got here, okay? So become the best leader you can. Understand your people and possibly take the retain model, and use it over the next 90 days to see what you can do to keep your best people and hire the best. One last thing, when you look to implement and you want to create some change, it's really hard to get started, okay? Because you're going to resist the change. You're going to resist what's in place. It's going to be messy in the middle, but it's going to be beautiful at the end. One of the things we like to do is help clients with the implementation, because we know that whether you're implementing a new job management process, you're implementing some new systems and procedures, you're hiring people, you're growing your business, you're doing things that you've never done before. It's hard, it's messy, and that it's beautiful. Yeah. So what we'd love to do is give you an opportunity that, you can either go back and do things the way you've always done it, and that's the 7 most dangerous words in business, yeah? That's the way we've always done it. Or you can look to create your business by design. See, a lot of people, we're into March already, can you believe it? 2 months of 2022 is down and done and dusted. How are you traveling? Are you waking up every day? Is it a bit of foggy? It's a bit dusty, you can't quite see where you're going, but you just put one foot in front of the other, hoping that you're heading in the right direction. It's okay, you're not alone. Probably 90% of businesses operate that way. We know what the next best steps are for you, depending on where you're at. So what we'd love to do is give you the opportunity to sit down with one of our team and nut out what that looks like. It's a complimentary, personalized business session, performance session. So what we do is really want to ask you what it is that you're looking for. Okay? Where do you want to grow and evolve in the next 12 months to 2 years? We've got a really sexy little diagnostic tool that gets to the core of your current reality. What's working, what's missing. Okay, we look at some of the obstacles that could be holding you back right now and into the future. And then we're going to make some recommendations on the actions that you can take. And these are specifically designed for you based on our experience in working in the trade and construction industry. So if that sounds like something that you'd like to, take advantage of, or you'd like to find out a little bit more information about, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to launch a little poll here. And with this poll, okay, it's very, very simple. As you can see the poll there, I'm going to bring back my slideshow. It's not there. My slides have decided to play around. So let's see what our poll's doing. So if you can see the poll there, maybe it's there up on your screen. If you'd like to take advantage of that, please tick yes. If no, that's okay. If you're unsure, we'll be in touch and give you some more information as well, if that makes sense. Complimentary, takes 60 to 90 minutes. We'll meet with you at a time that works for you, because I know plenty of you got plenty on at this point. And then we can to be in touch with you and make those recommendations from here. So I'll leave it out there for just a few more minutes. It's yes, great. If it's a no, it's a no. If it's unsure, we'll definitely give you some more insight to what's that all about. All righty. Okay, so there we have it. Bring up my little PowerPoint again, and we'll finish things off. So that's essentially what our session's all about. I trust you've got some great information, things that you can put in place, things that are practical. Yeah, that's most important. And keep in mind that you get to create your business the way that you want to choose. Thanks for being part of the session. I look forward to meeting some of you in person at some stage when we're in our capital cities. And if there's anything else that's going on in your world with your business, other than what we've talked about today, always feel free to reach out and be in touch. Continue to be the best version of yourself. Continue to make a difference to your business, to your industry and your trade, and whoever those people that you touch in your life. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next session.